Well, okay, so on the postmodern thing,
Yes.
because I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yes.
He seems so pissed at the Foucault jihadis in terms of taking Foucault's claim to the most religious extreme level of everything is power. Literally all art, all discourse, all social systems, everything is power. And that, I agree, is toxic and backwards and not true. And the objectivity in art video or whatever, or a lot of what you talk about is like, it's getting in touch with our cultural roots. It's recognizing the archetypes. It's recognizing the universal kind of human mimetic convergences, right? The archetypes are the points of convergent mimetic evolution or whatever. And like that's directly at odds with the postmodern stuff. And so you, at least my reading of you is, and your philosophy is, you also share that utter rejection of the idea that all knowledge and all art is fundamentally power-based. Would you agree, or you think I need to watch more CJDX?
Well, it's an interesting question. I think that like my whole life, like we can pare this way back down because we don't have to talk about ideas for this at all. Literally just my life is how I started doing my stuff, right?
Please.
So my experience is that I am an artist. I care a lot about art. I've kind of been ideating, I would say, in the fashion that currently is my job, about like art since like I was about like 17, I think, is like when I started to have a lot of these thoughts and basically like start to work on like heuristics, like amateurish philosophy, essentially, that was just motivated towards me trying to get my point across to people. And the feeling that I had was I was very frustrated as an artist that the people around me were very comfortable saying art is subjective. This was so common.
Yes.
And it's not young people, it's everyone, right? It's like that's a very common refrain. It's like art is relegated to the subjective realm, and then like whatever
math and science is objective.
Yeah.
Right.
So that always bothered me because I felt deep down it wasn't true and wasn't even like helpful. So that's just always been my project. And as soon as I started making like YouTube videos, that was just me saying shit I've been thinking this whole time and kind of preaching in my locale, right? And so, I was just, so my objectivity in art video was literally just like, there's this subject, art is subjective is what everyone kind of believes, right? And there's obviously a strong case to be made. And then the online specifically, there was a trend of people doing like the, I don't know, Victorian like aesthetic, I don't even know what thing, where they're like, no, art is objective according to my standards.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which is entertainingly stupid in its own right. So I just wanted to make a case for objectivity in the manner that I'd already been thinking. So this is what's kind of curious about my philosophical and YouTube career. My job is that was my intuition. It was just that art is more objective than you think. And
which is true. I agree with that.
Well, I can argue it pretty robustly. I don't know how you would argue it. I saw a clip where you were mentioning my name to somebody in an argument about.
Oh, that's right. About objectivity in music.
But I thought you did a bad job. So.
Well, that's fair.
I don't think.
I guess
it's fair. I think it's okay. You can like pre-intellectually have a feeling towards something being true without like being able to explicitly articulate. That's dandy. But this is what's strange is it's landed me in this philosophical area where like. Now I'm like in Maps of Meaning and all Jordan Peterson's work. And I understand that maybe you could take my idea of like objectivity in art as being analogous to like cultural exploration, like stretching out across like chaos or whatever, putting your borders down. Like I'm seeing where this takes me philosophically, but it's been strange. In addition to the fact that I've also had an influx of fan base of people that are like from STEM fields that are attracted to what I'm saying because their sense of science is more subjective than you think. And apparently that's the same thing. I didn't even think about that, but that's where I am now. You know what I mean? Anyway, sorry. Yeah, I'm excited to talk.
Okay, okay. So like on the objectivity in music.
Yes.
I guess it's like, which one would I get on here?
Yeah.
Like humans are.
You're a musician. I know you're a musician. You insert.
Yeah, not a very good one. But okay. Going back to the personal stuff, I have also had these arguments with musician friends who say, white noise is not objectively any more music than Beethoven's Fifth or Red Hot Chili Peppers Under the Bridge or insert your favorite song here.
Okay.
Obviously,
you really reveal your whiteness just in that moment.
I know. That's fine. Obviously, people can differ in what their highest, like their favorite song is, right? And style. But if you look across everyone's favorite music, even for as much variation as there is between whatever, I don't know, Kendrick Lamar and Red Hot Chili Peppers, and then some like, Eastern music that I'm not even aware of or whatever. For as much variation as there is there, compared to the set of all noises, including white noise and just, screaming and cacophony and random notes being played, there's a lot of structure that emerges from those good songs that by people's own standards and own subjective standard is their favorite song, which indicates there's something objective. There's some pattern that those songs are converging on, even if they do it differently, that is completely different from just like white noise. Because I would ask my friends, like, you spend how much of your time making this music, pouring your soul into it, and you're going to tell me that static noise on the radio is like, well, that's fundamentally, it's the same. It's just the fact that human power structures determined that some music was better than others. It's like,
well, that's strange.
It's much deeper than that.
The issue that I have with artists, right, is nobody behaves or feels like art is subjective. Right. Like no one. But they are comfortable kind of just like parroting that because it appears true. And anyways, I mean, it's kind of interesting. I'm reading, actually, something I'm reading right now just separately is I'm trying to get, if anyone knows Cuck philosophy, give me his contact info. I've been emailing this, trying to talk to him. Sorry, I didn't mean to call him. I mean, like, I want to speak to him because I think he does really good work. But I bought his book, How to Philosophize with a Hammer and Sickle, and it's about like, it's about Marx and Nietzsche, and it's really good, right? Like, here's an example. Like, there's not a lot of, I'm finding like strong like philosophy channels on the internet that are like kind of pouring a lot of resources into doing some strong philosophical study and are able to present it in a way that's like, engaging. So anyways, I'm enjoying his book. Literally, this is just a comparison, kind of contrast synthesis thing that he's doing with Marx and Nietzsche. Anyways, so his own, I just like one of the ideas he was articulating as something that they seem to have in common, which is that like, philosophy, like what is philosophy, right? And that a lot of people kind of tacitly think, especially in academia, but also in like life, that philosophy as well, like pursuit of knowledge should be like dispassionate and like disinterested. Like it should be some sort of like cold, calculating, analytic, arriving at the facts of the ultimate truth of things, right? That like philosophizing should be in pursuit of truth, like at the reduction of emotion, let's say. And so what Nietzsche was very, very against, and Marx is also against, and also William James is very against, is that the idea that like we philosophize just to identify like facts. I don't think that's true. Right. I think it's really
that's nerd shit.
Philosophize in pursuit of a specific goal, right? So I think it's interesting that like why wouldn't you? I don't know, that it just seems like meaningful enough to me. So it seems to me significant, useful, valuable, no less valid for me to philosophize actively to prove a point that I believe without necessarily like justification. Not in the least like not for the least reason that like I believe that if I am capable of proving that justification, then I can actually shape reality backwards, which is true. This is something that's articulated nicely in Maps of Meaning, actually.
That's what this is. Jordan Peterson's point about science being a religious enterprise. It's like there's no such thing as just going out and identifying individual facts, because how do you know there's an infinite number of facts? So what is the motivation that puts you in the right direction to know which facts to pursue? It's like it's the religious faith, it's the faith idea that encountering the facts brings about good in the archetypal or metaphysical sense or whatever.
It's the direction, let's say the directionality of science. That's a narrative direction, not a scientific direction. And then the question is, what is the narrative? Well, it posits a transcendent reality. It posits that the transcendent reality is corrective. It posits that our knowledge structures should be regarded with humility. It posits that you should bow down in the face of the transcendent evidence. And you have to take a vow. You know this as a scientist. You have to take a vow to follow that path if you're going to be a real scientist. It's like the truth, no matter what. And that means you posit the truth as a redemptive force. Well, what does redemptive mean? Well, why bother with science? Well, so people don't starve, so people can move about more effectively, so life can be more abundant, right? So it's all ensconced within an underlying ethic.